Welcome back to the latest episode of the Laura and Becky Show. So you know the story by now. We were on the radio together, then we got sacked. Yep, brutally sacked. However, actually turned out okay in the end because we flew to Mallorca with no money whatsoever, but drank lots of pale rosé, lots of limoncello, and thought, we're going to start a podcast. And here we are.
Here we are. We're sponsored by Prince Family Law Solicitors, Red Brick Estate Agents, and we're in collaboration with East Midlands Airport. Now, we are very excited about today's episode because we've been wanting to do this for a while. We've talked about this subject quite a lot, and we're sponsored basically by divorce firm. So it makes sense, doesn't it? We thought now's the time.
Oh, now is the time. And actually, we've been talking about this all week, haven't we? And we're calling this today a bit more of a chat show.
Oh, right. I was going to say, what are we calling this?
Yeah, well, we might not call the episode that, but we're calling it a bit of a divorce chat show.
Yeah.
Because we're not on our own. Are we in the studio today?
We're not on our own, no.
No, and we've got pale rosé on the go, although it could be slightly paler.
Yeah,
today.
And colder probably, but you know.
Yeah, I only stuck it in the fridge 10 minutes ago. Fine. Sorry, guys. So yes, today we are joined by two lovely ladies who are going to talk divorce.
Yes.
And we're very excited about it. They're not talking at the moment, but they will be.
They will be talking.
So we have got one of our lovely influencers, Sammy, a.k.a. Coco Travels. You are happy for me to say your Insta, aren't you?
It's too late now.
I've said it, sorry. And lovely Charlotte, who is a friend of ours as well. So welcome, ladies. In fact, should we do a cheers?
Yeah, let's do a cheers. Hang on.
Oh.
There we go.
We've
given them some rosé till I loosen them up a bit.
We thought they might say a bit more if they were, what's the word? Drunk.
If when Charlotte walked in, we've got soundproofing on the walls. It's like padding, basically. And she walked in and she went, why have you got padding on the walls?
And then I came in, and as I always do, I locked the studio door, and she was like, what's going on here? What have I really come here for? Just to chat, ladies.
Right, so we want to basically delve into your divorce stories, okay?
Yeah. Well, actually, since Prince Family Law have been sponsoring us, we have had so many women get in touch talking about it. I think it's kind of like, I was going to say triggered, that's probably the wrong word, prompted people to talk about it a bit more, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of know some of Charlotte's story because we sat in the Cavendish. More rosé was drunk actually on that evening, wasn't it?
That was a great
heard some of your
evening.
story. We were like, no way. And then Sammy sent, and we've known you a while now. Yep. Sammy sent us something, and it just said, "I need to come on your pod." And I read what you sent me, and I was like, "Yes, you bloody do." And here you are. Who should we start with?
Should we start with Sammy?
Yeah.
You look an eager beaver, like you want to get started.
I'm ready.
I cannot wait for this story.
I know. So maybe tell us about your past relationship.
Okay, so we actually met in Magaluf.
Yes. Good old Shagaloo.
It gets better.
Whereabouts? In a seedy bar? Or
yeah,
literally.
seedy bar, yeah.
Sticky floor.
He was DJing. I was a holiday maker.
So did he live out there?
Yes.
Oh my God, okay.
He lived out there. That's how we met. Just a normal relationship, really. Like, met, fell in love.
Hang on, I need more details. So you were in the bar and he was DJing and you're like, yo, Mr. DJ.
Yeah,
right.
I have got a bit of a thing
about
for
DJs.
a DJ.
Have you really?
Yeah, my current boyfriend is. Well, he isn't anymore, was also a DJ.
She's got a type. She's got a type.
Right. So he's there spinning some tunes.
Yeah.
You like... shimmy over. Yeah, and then your eyes meet.
Oh, I just, give him the eye.
Gave it yeah.
Did you ask for a song? Were you like, can you play Rihanna, please?
Actually, yeah. Turn my swag on.
By Cher Lloyd?
Yeah.
What tune?
That was the year. That'll give you some idea of the time.
Okay, right. And then, so obviously you were the holiday maker. What happened? Like you went home and then what happened?
Yeah, so I went home, obviously swapped numbers. I went home and it was like the end of the season. So he was coming home pretty soon. So yeah, we just met up and then, that was that. We fell in love. Right. And so he moved in with me. And then, it was just normal, like...
A normal relationship.
Yeah, I thought great. It was great. We've been together 2 years and he proposed. And
how did he propose?
It was on the London Eye.
No way.
So we were actually going to Paris. And obviously all my friends were like, oh, Paris, oh. And I was like, no, I don't think you will. But so we went to London like the day before, ready to get the Eurostar. And he was like, all nervous. He was like, oh, we've got to be somewhere. Come on. And I was like, why are you rushing? Like, we've got the whole day in London. Like, just chill. He's like, no, we've got to be somewhere. So we got to the London Eye and we sort of like skipped the queue and like got in this pod and it was just us in the pod. And I was like,
did you not twig at this point?
Like, there's no one else in here. And then there was like a lady in with us. She was like pouring us champagne. And I was like,
this is weird.
Gosh. So then he like got down on one knee and I can remember he said, oh, we're going to have to make some plans for next year. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I want to marry you. Or like, will you marry me?
He put some thought into it then.
Yeah.
Like, that's really romantic.
Do you know what? He was quite romantic.
Right.
So I will say that about him.
Okay.
But yeah, so then we got married. We were planning the wedding for like 2 years, got married. Quite a nice wedding. Well, it was a lovely wedding.
So you'd been together for how many years before you got married? 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't like
while.
it wasn't a whirlwind or anything. Yeah, just normal. It was a lovely wedding.
And you felt like you knew this guy. I guess after 4 years living together, you really feel like you know somebody.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, definitely. And like I was really, really happy. Do you know, like you just think, oh, this is great. Like everything's perfect. Yeah, we had a lovely wedding. Everybody came. It's quite a big wedding. Yeah. And then
where did it all go wrong? This is what we're all waiting for.
So did you go on honeymoon?
Yes.
Okay.
We went to Bahamas.
Lovely.
And Florida. So we did like theme parks.
Wow.
Week of theme parks and then week of beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, everything was fine.
Can we get to the good bit? I can't even wait anymore. What happened?
Building up the tension. So then we've been married a year and a half and it was December and like really oddly, it was just one night we were at home and he just went, could you afford this house if you were on your own? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? And he just said it again. And I was like, I don't know, I guess so. Like, I haven't really thought about
this was completely out of the blue.
Out of the blue. Like, this was my first inkling that like
that's
anything
a really
was wrong.
odd question, isn't it? As well?
Oh, I was like, what?
It's like a Charlotte's face.
Charlotte is poised for this story. Okay.
So that was like the first thing. But then that was that, like the conversation kind of just...
And you didn't think anything, you kind of like thought it was weird at the time, but then forgot about
I didn't really think about it again. And then it must have been like a week later or around the same time. It was like quite late at night, like maybe like 9 o'clock. And he was like, oh, I'm just going out to meet a friend. And I was like, all right. And this was completely out of character. Like I'd never known him to do this before. And he was like, oh, my friend's having like a bit of a tough time. I'm just going to go and meet up with him.
Classic.
So I was like, well, okay, yeah, great. To look after your friend. And I still didn't really twig.
Yeah.
But it was just like an odd thing to happen. And then it was Christmas and we were at my parents' house. Like every year we go to my parents' house and he just stayed in bed like the whole day and he was like, I'm really ill. Like I can't get up and like do things with the family. So yeah, he was just in bed. And then, so that again was really strange. And then after Christmas, we had booked to go to New York on holiday. So we were going for New Year's Eve. And oh my God, it was the worst trip of my life. So like, do you know when someone's just picking fights with you all the time about like just random stuff? And I'm not very argumentative and like things were just like every little thing that I did, it was like annoying him. And like he was just like picking loads of fights with me and I had the worst time. I cried. So we had dinner at the Empire State Building.
Oh, stop
and he said he was like being really horrible to me and I just went to the toilets and cried.
Oh, no.
I know. So that it was an awful trip. And then we got home and then literally the next day he was like, when you get back from work, I'm not going to be here. Yeah. So I went to work, just normal. And I was kind of like, just didn't say anything at work. I just sat there. And then at lunchtime, I was going to my parents' house.
But so what did you think he meant by him going, I'm not going to be here? You knew that he meant, that's it, it's over.
Yeah. And it was like, it was still a big shock, even that like he had been acting really weird though. So by this point, I was a bit more like...
Yeah, okay. There were some signs that
yeah.
it wasn't okay.
Yeah. So I went to my mum's house and she was like, you're all right. And I just like burst into tears. And I was like, I I think he's left me. And Mum was like, what? And she was obviously really shocked as well, because he was like a part of our family. Like, everyone is when they get married, aren't they? So we went back to my flat, and like most of his stuff had gone. And yeah, my mum basically just got all of this stuff into a pile, and she was like, right, we need to sort this out.
Do you know what though? Why go to New York?
I know.
Like, that's annoying, isn't it?
I know, because it ruined it. Like, yeah. And I
do you know what though?
Go.
A lot of people do this. They have like a big thing, don't they? And they're like, right, I'll just get Christmas out of the way, or I'll just get their birthday out of the way, or I'll just get New York out of the way. And that's their kind of like thing for they're going to do it after, aren't they?
I think January is like the most busiest time.
And September, we've learned that.
Prince family law, but Lisa's been telling us about that, hasn't she?
Yeah. Okay, so your mum was there helping you pack. Not helping you pack. You were staying there.
Yeah,
right?
So she just like got all this stuff and
what did you do with it?
Yeah,
we just put it in a pile, because I was like, at this point I was like, I'm sure it'll be okay. Like, I'm sure we'll sort things out. You know,
Sammy.
do you know when you just like, I'm like, it can't be that. Like, what's happening? Anyway, so then I obviously stayed in the house. My mum left, and she was like, come back with us, come and stay with us. And I was like, no, like, I want to stay in the house. And then that night, one of my friends rang me, and she was like, I really don't want to tell you this, but I've just seen him out for dinner with another girl.
Hang on a minute. Is this the same day he's left you?
Like, literally the day after.
What a rat.
And like, obviously, I'm from Matlock. It's a small town.
No.
Everyone knows each other.
You knew her.
And he's not from around here. So I was like, the audacity of going out where people that I know can see you.
That is outrageous, that.
And there's more outrageousness.
Go on.
So then obviously I was absolutely raging. So I called him and I was like, you better come and get your stuff, else I'm just throwing it out. So he came round, and like, I was like obviously shouting at him and stuff. And
obviously.
So when he got there, I was like, oh, where's your car? And he was like, oh, I just parked across the road. And like, it didn't click. But then afterwards I was like, she was in the car, wasn't she?
Stop. Did you go out there?
No. I didn't. It didn't click. Do you know, like, I wasn't really thinking about it. And then afterwards I was like, oh.
Sorry, did you say you knew this girl?
No, I didn't know her. But I knew her from him talking about her because they worked together. Yeah. So he had mentioned her like previously.
Oh.
Yeah. So
how long had this been going on for a while then?
Only like 2 months, I think.
Okay.
So
you say only 2 months, but you guys were married, right?
Yeah. So quite a while, I suppose. But yeah, I just had no idea. And I think because I'm quite trusting, I just wouldn't have expected anyone to do that. And I just didn't, I don't know, it just never entered my head because my mum and dad kept saying, well, do you think he's got someone else? And I was like, no, like, I don't think so.
God, that is brutal, isn't it? Because you think there would be a grace period.
Yeah.
You know, a polite grace period.
24 hours is brutal.
Stay inside.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's still more to this story, which it's going to blow your mind. So tell us what happened after, what you did.
There's so much. There's the bit what I did, and then there's even more that he did.
Go on, tell us.
So I'll tell you what happened with him first. And I don't know where he is now, so I don't know how this panned out for him. But basically...
Oh, sorry, all of our listeners are going to be finding him, aren't they? Searching out, right, let's see where he is these days.
He might be a listener already.
He might be a little feral.
Yeah. So he and this girl, I think she's half Turkish, or she's got family in Turkey. They decided to move to Turkey together. And then a couple of months later, he messaged me and was like, she's pregnant. And I was like, oh, congratulations.
Oh my God.
I was what do you want me to say? Because at first he was like, oh, can I phone you? Like, I need to talk. And I was like, no, you can just text me and tell me. So that was that. And then it turned out she had cheated on him.
Well, it wasn't his baby.
And it wasn't his baby.
No. Oh my God. Stop it. Karma.
Yeah.
Karma.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
that I found out when I was like at my desk at work, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, that is the twist in the story. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So you don't know whether they stayed together or
No,
not?
I don't know.
I could probably guess no. I think we can probably safely say. Do you not even know if he's in Turkey still or anything?
I think he came back here, but I don't know.
Oh,
After
God.
that, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh my God. So what happened
Tell
then?
us what you did.
So
this is the clincher,
So
girls.
it sounds
Great.
so it sounds from like when I tell you more, it sounds like I was really scornful at this point, but I actually wasn't.
No one's going to think you're scornful.
So it was more like a joke.
Yeah.
So what happened was I was like, it was quite a few months later. So I think 6 or 7 months. And I was like, right, I'm ready to like move on. Need to like sort out all my stuff. I'll sell my wedding dress. So I put it on eBay. Just normal description, everything. And it wasn't getting any views. So I was chatting to my brother and he was like, well, you're a writer. Like, why don't you make it funny? Like, make the description. Like, come on, just do something better. You might get picked up from somewhere. So I was like, right, okay, that's a good idea. So I really went to town with the description. I was like, my favourite bit was the stench of betrayal. I think I've seen this.
Right, me too. I remember this bit. So
This is
so
going to make
tell us.
sense in a minute.
Yeah, so then I shared it to like some of my friends because I'm in like some blogger groups and stuff like that. I shared it to them just being like, oh, look at this, so funny. Anyway, the next minute I got a call from the Mirror and they were like, oh, we really want to feature your dress story. And I was like, okay, sure. And then it was everywhere.
I remember this so clearly. I can't believe you didn't go on This Morning or something.
It was on Lorraine, but I wasn't on it.
Right.
It just
Oh
talked
my
about
God.
it. Yeah. My mum was like, oh my God, you're on Lorraine.
That is so. But I think it was the way you wrote it was brilliant. I wish we had it. Do we have a copy of what you wrote?
I can't remember. It was something like, I went to town. I was like, cheating scumbag and like all the
Did it sell?
Yeah.
Wow. So it was literally everywhere. It was in like the Metro, BBC News, everywhere. Yeah, so.
And did it sell in the end?
Well, the bids got up to like, it was something stupid, like 100 and something thousand.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
What?
And then I
And
got,
do you mind us asking how much you paid for the dress initially?
I think it was like, it was under $2,000, like
Oh
for everything.
my God.
But
I've got it. I've got the article. Oh my God. Hang on.
I think it's still
Oh my
live.
God. 75 bids, £65,900. Jesus.
Is that what it went for?
Well, so I then got a call from eBay and they were like,
No.
we just want to let you know it's people like pushing up the bids, you know, for like the news stories
Yeah,
and stuff, so
right.
it makes a better story. So already in my head, I was obviously like, I'm not going to get that, am I? But then a little part of me was like,
Maybe.
but am I?
I would have spent that money in my head already. Like seeing the bids going up, I'd have been like, yep, new car,
Yeah.
new this, yeah.
Can I read some of the stuff you wrote? Okay, so. So it says, mainly selling my dress as I need to pay for my divorce, which my ex-husband has left me to foot the bill for. Rag writes in the eBay production description. I didn't have time to get it dry cleaned myself before my cheating scumbag of a husband decided to call an end to our marriage. Sorry that there are only 2 pictures, but when I found out my husband was living with another woman, I pretty much burned/permanently deleted everything with his disgusting face on it. She finished her darkly hilarious description with a perfect zinger. If you want a dress that is full of bad memories and shattered hopes and dreams, then this is the one for you. This is sad.
God.
I mean, God.
That is genius.
Yeah. Oh my
But
God.
I feel like everyone was reading it being like, oh. But it was like funny. It was supposed to be funny.
And it was funny.
I wasn't still raging by
Also,
that point.
fair play. Do you know what? After everything he'd done, he'd got another woman pregnant. He'd been on a date with her 24 hours, having an affair with her. Fair play. Yeah. Why not?
Oh my God.
That is a great story. Where are you at now?
So this is quite a while ago now. So it's 2016, I think this happened.
Okay.
So it's quite a long time ago. I met Lee, my current boyfriend, quite soon afterwards. and we've been together ever since.
Oh, nice.
Super, super happy.
Good.
Not engaged yet.
Still waiting.
I only mention it every single day, so you know,
that's fine, isn't
hopefully
it?
I'll pick up the hint soon.
Do you know what though? This is really nice to hear because there'll be loads of like people listening who are perhaps thinking about splitting with somebody or going through a divorce. In fact, we met somebody, won't name him, but just the other day who was at the very beginnings of it. So I think it's really nice for people to hear that you went through such an awful time. And now look at you, sat here drinking rosé with us and with Lee.
Yeah, definitely. I think like at the time you feel like you're gonna die. Like I've never felt like that before. Like I couldn't eat, and everyone who knows me knows I like my food. But I would eat in like a bite of food and I'd be like, oh God, I'm so full. Like I feel sick. I'd be bursting into tears at anything. Yeah, I've never felt like that before or since.
So what when you think back to that, what kind of got you through it? Was it like your family and just trying your friends, and what kind of got you through it?
So my best friend Emma was like, we're going to Dubai. And I was like...
So holidays are a good idea.
So I was like, no, I can't go right at the moment. And she was like, come on, we're going. So we did that. I was with my family all the time. I've got like a really lovely family.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were just there for me all the time. Just taking the time to go through it, really. Like, it is awful, and there's nothing, like, no one can make you really feel better, but after a while, you just start to sort of forget about it a bit. Not forget, but you're sort of just like, oh, I didn't think about that as much today. Like, and you enjoy yourself more.
It's time, isn't it? Like, I mean, everyone says this, and at the time you just think, oh, I don't want there to be time. I want to feel okay now, but it is just time and getting through each day, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And you're one of the most loveliest people we've ever met. So,
Guys.
you are.
And thank you for being so honest about it. So I know obviously you've been to the newspapers before us.
I know about it.
I'm in the press again.
But no, it's really good. I think it's really good to talk about it. It's really good to hear about people's experiences.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm like an open book. So I was on holiday a few weeks ago with some friends that I've only known a couple of years, and they were like, oh, like, we wanted to ask you about it, but we didn't know if you were all right to talk about it. But it feels almost like I'm talking about somebody else when I speak about it now. It doesn't really feel like such a big part of my life. It just feels like a little thing that happened, and now it doesn't mean
You've
anything.
moved on. That's a really good thing. You have to move on from it, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great story.
Great story.
Let's have a cheers.
Oh, cheers.
Right
Okay,
then.
Charlotte's having a massive gulp of her
terrified.
rosé as we speak.
How do I follow that? Oh, mine's not as like entertaining.
No, it doesn't need to be entertaining.
No, but this is the thing. Like people, are, like they're splitting up, they're getting divorced every day, and everyone's story is different. And it's really good to hear different stories.
Yeah, and to talk about it.
Yeah.
Definitely. I kind of thought that when you asked me to come on, like perhaps it'll be some sort of therapy.
Yeah.
Or just, talk to people other than my family and friends who are probably sick to death of hearing the stories that happen on a daily basis. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So how did you meet?
So we met in, I would say, 2006. I was working back from uni, working in a pub locally, and got to work one day and there was a red Ferrari outside.
I thought you were going to say a red flag.
That's
And
what I thought.
Yeah, I was straight there. Red flag,
was the
that's
red
for me.
flag, yeah.
All right, a red Ferrari. Okay, tick.
So I walked in, my best friend's behind the bar. She's like, did you see the car outside? I was like, yes, I did. And anyway, the guy that I went on to marry was there, and we started talking, and obviously one thing led to another.
And it was
got
his,
together.
obviously, right? The
It was
Ferrari
his car,
Yeah.
yes, it was his car. So me being young and naive and stupid was like drawn in by the red Ferrari and thought everything was wonderful, which it was in my head for a while. We then ended up getting pregnant quite soon. So after about 3 months of being together.
Oh, that is soon.
Yep. I was still at uni. I then quit uni because decided that we were going to keep the baby and I needed to be at home rather than partying in Liverpool. So moved home.
I can beep it.
Yeah.
Just write down the time.
And then about 2 years after that, he proposed.
How did he propose?
It was on Christmas Eve, and I honestly didn't have a clue it was going to happen. I think I was like being a mum and just wasn't really aware of perhaps a proposal. So we were at my mum's house, and I think I was like wrapping the last of the presents, and he came in with this bottle of wine or champagne or something, and my mum and my stepdad were sat on the sofa. They didn't have a clue either. And he just kind of like knelt down next to me, and I was on the floor, and this box appeared. I was like, the hell is that? And then the first thing I thought was, oh, I've not done my nails. Like, I wanted my nails to be done.
I feel like this is something every girl thinks. They think it proposed, they're like, damn it, I haven't got a manicure.
It was on my list for like Christmas Eve jobs to do, like do my nails. Anyway, yes, so we got engaged. We then waited a while to get married. We had another child. So both the kids were at the wedding. It was lovely, like you said, lovely day. And, the years went by, everything was really good.
How long were you together for?
10 years.
Okay, so a good while.
Up until the divorce kind of date, it was 10 years, I think. I kind of forget, dates kind of go a bit crazy. And then the kind of first incident as such that I was aware of was my 30th birthday. So we'd arranged this big party. We were having this big teepee party up in a quarry that my dad owns. And I remember actually, when you think back to things and things make sense, I remember him saying, oh, are you sure you want to have this party? Like, maybe we could just go shopping, just the two of us. Like, do we need to have a big event? I was like, hell yeah. Like,
it's my 30th.
We're doing this. So it all went ahead, and it was brilliant, like, best day ever. And then that evening I'd lost my phone. So obviously it's a party, you kind of like think, oh, someone's maybe picked it up, taken it home. So I put on Facebook the day after, like, thanks everyone for coming. I've lost my phone. If anybody's like put it in the bag or whatever, can you let me know? Anyway, it transpired that he then found my phone in the car. And I was like, that's really weird. Like, I checked the car thoroughly about 5 times. Like, when you lose your phone, like, I need to find my phone.
Yeah.
So that was odd. Anyway, the day after my birthday, I'd gone into work. I was actually doing some admin work for him at the time. And I received an email. So I actually had a wedding business. So I used to style weddings and things like that. So I kind of worked from his office whilst doing admin for him, things like that. And I got this email sent to my wedding email from this woman who basically just told me that her and my husband had been in a relationship 2 months, 3 months, maybe. I can't really remember. It was a blur.
Oh, no.
And I remember reading it and just knowing instantly it was true. I just knew it. And he was there. He was with me, and I just continued to email her back and forth.
Did he know what was going on or not?
He didn't know anything. He was just carrying on, and I just kept looking at him thinking, whew. And so this kind of carried on probably half the day. I was just firing questions at her. You're just like, I need loads of information right now, and I need to get her now whilst he hasn't got a chance to get in her ear.
So why did she tell you?
I think she just found out that he was actually married.
Right, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I just wondered
I think that's
why.
how it kind of came about.
Right, got it.
So we were texting back, we were messaging back and forth, and then all I can remember feeling was I just wanted to. The kids' school was literally 5 minutes drive away, and all I kept thinking was I just want to get in the car, go and get the kids, and just run away and just get away from all. It was just too much. Like, it was just so overwhelming, and it had transpired that I was actually meant to find out on my birthday party night. So a message had been sent to my Facebook. But you know how it goes into your requested?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you don't actually get it. And it was a message from her friend or something telling me. Hence why the phone went missing.
So did your husband know this was going to
He
happen?
knew
So he
something was
took
gonna
your
happen.
phone and hid it so you wouldn't see the message. How did he know?
Did he delete the message?
No, he didn't know how to. He doesn't have Facebook. So He didn't. I think he thought maybe a phone call would happen or something or whatever.
Ooh.
So anyway, I then confronted him, and he knew. You know when someone you kind of walking up to someone in a certain way, and he kind of looked at me,
Froze.
And I just said, "Look, tell me what's happening," and he denied it, like literally to my face, and I was like, "I have everything," because she'd literally just email after email after email, and. So I had all this information. And I can't really remember what happened after that. It was just a whirlwind of like, I think I'd driven to my friend's house and just like broke down, and then had to regain my kind of normality to go pick the kids up from school. And it was all just very blurry for about 2 weeks.
Because this is the thing, right? Like, as a mum, especially, you have to operate normally with the kids, don't you? But you've got your world falling apart.
You know, they're expecting dad to come home. So it's like dad comes home and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
I think he moved out for a bit. I can't quite remember. But I just remember thinking, like, what do I do? Like, this decision has been put in my hands because of something he's done. Like, do I make it work for the sake of the kids? Do I make it work for the sake of me? Like... You know,
were you in love with him at this point?
Oh God, yeah. You know, he was everything. Like, I was so young when I met him, and I'd been in relationships before, which were just horrible. You know, like young teenage relationships. So for me, he was like my safety. You know, he provided for me everything, provided for the kids. So it was kind of like, what do you do now? People are going to think I'm stupid for staying, but then where do I go? And all of this. And then in the end, it just sort of. We just kind of, it was normal again. Like, it wasn't forgotten about, but we just kind of continued our lives. But then I think from that trigger, it took me probably 5 years to really change my way of thinking and kind of gain some strength from what had happened, because it completely broke me. I was depressed. I was put on tablets. It just completely kind of shattered my whole world, and I was trying to like rebuild myself whilst bringing the kids up and trying to, you know, make sure the relationship was okay, worrying all the time about trust issues and where he's going and what he's doing, and he worked away a lot. So I think over those next 5 years, I kind of just really gained some strength to the point where I started seeing things differently and noticing different things. And it got to 2020. And weirdly, I had a operation on my teeth. And after that, it was like, I don't know why, you know, I don't know, it's like significant like things happen, don't they? And I remember feeling like...
Nothing like a bit of dental work.
You know, I absolutely hate the dentist, so it was very traumatic for me. I was like, Mum, you need to come down. She lives in Scotland. I was like, Mum, you need to come down for the week. I'm having an operation. She's like, Charlotte, you're literally going for a filling. Like,
getting your incisors sorted.
Actually, no, I think I had my wisdom teeth out, so it was quite traumatic. Anyway, so she was down. I just remember thinking, like, do you know what? I've had enough. Like, something needs to change here. And my brother came up. He lives down in London, and he's super wise. Like, me and him are just very, very close, and he understands me so well. And I remember him just kind of, I can't remember what he said to me, but he must have said something that just clicked. And I just thought, do you know what? I don't need this. Like, I don't want my life to be like this anymore. So 2020 went on, and obviously we know what happened.
Yeah.
Boris announces this lockdown. I remember thinking, oh God, I need to go now. Like,
you can't be stuck in a house.
No one knew what was to come. Like, we didn't know we were going to be locked down for like 2 years. But I just remember thinking, I can't be here. So the day that Boris announced the lockdown, I was driving up Loch Lomond with one of my children in the car. The other one was like, I'm staying here. So I had to go without, which was devastating because I kind of knew that I wasn't coming back for a while. And I drove up to where my mum lives, and she lives literally in the middle of nowhere. They're in lockdown every day, you know, regardless of Boris telling me or not. And spent 6 weeks up there.
What did you told your husband at this point?
I'd asked him to leave. Things happened. I'm not going to go into it because there's a lot, but there was a lot of lies and a lot of deceit that kind of I was aware of and continued So I just kind of said, look, you need to leave. And he wouldn't leave. So I had to leave because I knew that, one, for the sake of the kids, and two, for, it just wasn't right to be there. There's a lot of arguments and things going on. So it was, in a sense, lockdown was kind of a blessing for me. It gave me a lot of time to be away, think about things, and just process everything and figure out what I was going to do. Anyway, I came home because it was my son's birthday and there was no way I was missing it. So I kind of drove through the night during lockdown, probably illegally, and got home. And I spent a week at home, and that was the first time I actually felt scared being there. I'd moved into my daughter's bedroom downstairs, and I remember one night I heard footsteps coming down the stairs, and I'd never been scared. There was never any physical abuse or anything. Emotional abuse, definitely, but nothing physical. But I remember feeling scared that he was going to come into the bedroom. And I actually spoke to Sally about it. And she said, right, pack a bag. I'm coming to get you tomorrow. And I remember talking to a divorce lawyer about what to do. And I got some kind of free advice. And I remember them saying at the time, whatever you do, don't leave. Yeah. And don't leave the kids. Yeah. And I thought, I've got to. Like, he will not go. He's very kind of stubborn and, his ego and all that kind of stuff. And I had to go. And it was probably the biggest mistake, was going, because it took me a long time to get the kids back after going, which is ridiculous because the system just doesn't help you at all. But I had a really good divorce lawyer, not the same one that told me not to go. I ended up speaking to somebody else once I'd got to Sally's. And Sally kind of took me in, and again, lockdown, she owns holiday cottages. So she just said, look, have it. It's not being used. Just come here. The kids can come here. I took the dog. So when I left, I took the dog and the coffee machine. The essentials. Left the kids, but Still got the dog. Still got the coffee machine.
Do you know what you need? You need a good friend. Like you were saying, actually, Sammy, you need a good friend or family that just goes, right, don't worry about anything else. Get your stuff.
She literally told me what I was doing. And I needed that. I needed someone to tell me what to do.
Because you can't think straight.
You can't think straight. And there's so many voices. There's like, don't leave the house, or you need to go. And she literally just said, Charlotte, I'm coming to get you. And actually, I was meant to drive to hers. And I walked outside to get my car, and the tyres had been let down. Yeah. And she ended up coming to get me.
Oh, wow.
And so I went and kind of, that was a blur again. It was, we had some great nights, lockdown at Sally's house, you can imagine. But yeah, she, like you say, with friends and stuff, she did so much for me. Like, she'd been through it as well, a few years before, and I'd been there for her, like you do, friends do. But she really, really supported me through it. And there was somebody else, or a kind of group of people that helped, who are called Mums in Need, who are Sheffield based, and they just kind of, it's a charity, and you can just get in touch, and you kind of put in touch with free legal help, therapy, counselling, anything to do with the kids, if you need like beds or clothes, or if you're having to kind of start up again. And they were absolutely brilliant. Like, I didn't use them enough, I don't think, because there's so much going on, and I had really, really good friend and family support as well. But people that don't have that, there are places out there like Mums in Need who are just fantastic.
Well, this is a thing, isn't it? There's a reason why a lot of people don't split up with people, is because they worry about financially how they're going to cope by themselves. So this sounds amazing.
Yeah. And when I left, I had nothing. Like I said, the dog and the coffee machine, that was it. He was in control of all the financial stuff. And I had to then find a house, because obviously trying to get the kids back in court, it doesn't look very good that I haven't got a home for them. So that was kind of the focus, was to find somewhere to live, which that's where lockdown took a turn for me, because there wasn't a lot on the market kind of rental wise. But we ended up finding something. I moved in with a TV on a box, which I've got a photograph of, and it makes me smile so much every time I look at it now, thinking like where I was 3 years ago to what I've got now, and how much my life has changed for even better than it could have been if I'd have stayed.
Love that.
Like, it's all my own. The kids are now getting there. It's been hard. But yeah, it's like back then, like you say, you don't believe that you could ever get better from it or, you know, see the future at all. But it does come around and you do it yourself. Like, you have so much help, but actually it's you that's done it. And that's like, you kind of think like how proud you are of yourself. And
Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling, that,
Yeah.
isn't it? I
It's
think,
so
like you say,
empowering,
yeah.
you kind of feel like you can do anything when
So
you go through that.
Where are you now then?
So now I have got a great job, absolutely love it. Kids are with me, still ups and downs and stuff with things there, but they're happy. My son's just started an apprenticeship. He's really happy. He went through quite a lot, missed a lot of school, struggled quite a bit, but he's kind of really on the up now, so that's really good. My daughter the same, she's at secondary school now. And yeah, life's good. Life's really good.
Yeah.
And like, I've got this lovely house that we've made our own, and the dog's still with us.
Dog and the coffee machine, it's still going.
I did actually have to replace my coffee machine quite recently because it died on me, but I still have
A coffee
machine. Yeah, so that's kind of, there's more to it, but
Yeah,
that's
and
the
you
only-
have to be respectful because obviously you've got
of
the
course,
children
yeah,
and that, you
yeah.
know, it's,
I
but
don't want to start kind of
yeah,
going down that road. Yeah.
Yeah.
do that off
Off the pod.
Yeah, it's fine for me.
I can tell Sammy's got like a load of questions to ask you already. But again, it's so nice to know. Thank you for being so honest. 'Cause it's not always the easiest thing to talk about, is it? And be vulnerable and be really honest.
Yeah.
And it's so
also-
amazing to hear.
Yeah, both your stories, it wasn't your choice. Like, you were perfectly happy in both your relationships. It was like,
Yeah.
and I always think like being cheated on, it's not like they did that to you
Yeah.
and you become someone that's been cheated on. It's horrible.
Yeah, do you know the worst thing for me was the shame? Like, I felt ashamed,
Yeah,
which
you're
it
not
seems
good enough
silly. Like,
and-
now that I look back, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not your fault.
No.
But like, I felt like, you know, all our friends and family had been to our wedding like 18 months before, and then I had to go and tell everyone.
Yeah.
And I felt like just embarrassed that it had
Yeah.
happened.
Do you know
even though
what?
It wasn't my fault.
I always think, because I've had friends say similar things to me before. If Cheryl Cole and Beyonce can be cheated on, it can happen to any of us.
anyone.
Okay?
Yeah. I mean, people get divorced for so many different reasons, don't they? But like, sometimes they can be amicable, but still really difficult to go through. But when you're like, you know, they're like, well, you know, you found out via email, you went to New York and cried at the Empire State Building, for God's sake.
Can't
Like,
believe it.
it's just really
I still haven't been
bad.
back.
You need
you
to
know
go
what?
back.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you should go back and have a really romantic meal
Yeah,
and just
enjoy
like, get
it.
drunk and yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. But also, this is going to help so many people listening. Like we say, we get so many messages from women who are thinking about it, but too
Yeah.
scared to go. Women who are just starting to go through it. Women who are going through it, but are having a really hard
Well,
time.
that's where I was, like, when I found out about the affair, you know, it was, what's my choices? Like, how could I possibly do this? And it took me 5 years, like I say, to get that strength up to kind of realise that you can do it. Forced a little bit by Sally.
Love
God
Sally.
for Sally.
Sally.
We all need a Sally.
Yeah, we need to get Sally. Sally was going to come on, wasn't she? But unfortunately, she had to go somewhere else. So we have to get her on, won't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just knowing what's out there and knowing that there are people out there that can help is really helpful to people.
Yeah, and talking to your girls about it is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
such a help,
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely.
Definitely. I think one thing that really helped me was being like really practical with things. Like, I wrote a list of everything that I needed to do, like go and see the solicitor, sort out the joint bank account, sort out the mortgage or whatever it was. And like, it gave me something to focus on where I wasn't being so emotional, but it was just like taking things off a list. And that really helped me like focus on where am I going to be in like 6 months' time and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really good advice,
I think
actually.
you're really, when you're getting divorced, you've got all the emotions, and when you're that emotional, decision making is a really bad idea.
Get
Do you know
yourself
what I mean?
a very good solicitor.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, and don't worry about like the money, because I know a lot of people think, oh, a solicitor's so expensive, but like you do really need to look
you
after
definitely
yourself,
need it.
otherwise you'll
You've got to
just get
protect
screwed.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Good advice. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, it's been
Thank you.
amazing. It's been an insight,
Yeah. God, it's been brilliant.
hasn't it, Jess? Yeah,
It's therapeutic. I feel great.
I did.
Maybe it's the wine.
Finish our rosés and thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.